Okay, so in this video we're going to go ahead and look at our passive abilities and how we can level up passive abilities on our hero. I've gone ahead and killed a few baddies to get some experience for my hero to show you off some of these passive abilities. If I go into my level up abilities here, you can see I have a bunch of abilities. I have a bottom row of usable abilities, and then on the top row I have all passive abilities. As you can see, some of them are grayed out because they do have level requirements for them. But we can go ahead and learn some of them here. When we learn a passive ability, you can see it shows up on the command card. It is kind of like this grayed out unclickable icon here. And then it does show me that I do have level 1 based on the color, and it is giving me a damage plus 10 and a 20% attack boost, and you can see that has been applied here to my hero. Now I can go in and go ahead and get another upgrade. And then this one is giving me some extra life and energy, and we can see that's also taking effect. If we go in here and learn again, we can see that we have level 2 now, and level 2 is giving us an additional 10% or 10 damage and 20% attack speed. We can see we can't learn level 3 yet because we do have to be level 2 plus, 4 plus, or 6, and right now I'm level 4, so I was able to learn up to level 2, but I cannot learn level 3. If I go ahead and get the next level of my physiological enhancement here, I can go ahead and get some more life and energy for my hero. You can see they're both level 2 now. And again, I cannot learn that one because not only do I not have any more points to spend, but that one requires level 5. So these are the different passive abilities here on the top row for me. And this bottom row is the level of abilities that you can actually use. Throw a grenade, use a plasma gun, things like that. So let's go ahead and jump into the data editor and find out how to set this up. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make passive abilities that you can level on your heroes. Passive abilities are abilities that you don't actually use, so much so that they just apply an effect or buff to your hero. They can be things like the buffs that I showed you in my commentary video, and they can be things like auras as well, things that you want to level up. The first thing we need to do to create a passive ability is to create a button for it. So in the data editor, under the buttons tab, you want to go ahead and create a button for your ability. This is going to be the button that shows up on the command card, so you want to name it what you're going to name your ability. I just went ahead and made a test ability here. In the tooltip section, you want to put what your ability is going to do, increase the hero's HP, add a buff, things like that, aura effects. You're also going to create an icon. I just went with the icon that I had pulled up there. It was the, let's see here, it looks like that is the Terran Minerals icon I already had. So go ahead and first thing you want to do is create a button. The next thing after creating a button that you want to do is you want to create the behavior. Now this behavior is going to be what's actually applied to the hero, and this is what's going to actually buff our hero. Whether it's with life, energy or life regeneration rate, movement speed, attack speed, anything that you're going to modify your hero with, you're going to want to use for the behaviors. So you want to go ahead and create a behavior with type buff, as I've done here already, and each behavior you create is going to be an additional level of your ability that you can upgrade. So if your passive ability is going to have 5 levels, you're going to need 5 individual behaviors. I've gone ahead and created a couple here to demonstrate the behavior 1 and behavior 2. Now there's 3 things you're going to need to set on your behaviors. You're going to need to set the behavior modification, requirements, and the flags. Now I'll go through these each individually. First, the modification is going to be like I was talking about, what you're actually going to be changing on your hero. For this example specifically, I went ahead and just modified the hero's life and energy here in the vital max bonus section. But again, you can change anything about your hero that you want to do as a passive ability. The next thing you're going to be needing to do is the requirements, which we'll be talking about next. The final thing is this hidden flag here. And what this does is to the left of your hero's name, there's like a column. And in that column, there's different effects that can be placed there. Things like stim packs. You'll see the little icon when there's a stim pack active on your unit. Now, we don't want these on final map releases because they just look bad if you have a bunch of behaviors cluttering up there. They're good to leave this on when you're actually going to be testing your map to make sure that you actually are getting the behavior applied to your unit. So what we want to go ahead and do now is we want to go ahead and create the requirements after we've created all of our behaviors. And again, you need 1 behavior per level of your ability. So you can just copy and paste this over several times change the name, change the modification if you'd like to, and then you're going to go ahead and go on to the requirements. Go on to the abilities actually. Then we're going to go ahead and create the ability, and this ability is the one that you're actually going to see on the command card, the one that you're clicking, the one that we're going to be using for our requirements. So I went ahead and created a test ability here, type behavior, and the only thing we're going to be doing with this is we're going to be adding the behaviors we just created to our ability behaviors here. As you can see, I went ahead and added test behavior 1 and test behavior 2. Again, these are where you set how many levels you can actually level up your ability. If this had 5 behaviors attached to it, I could level up the ability 5 times. 1 behavior, 1 time, for example. So this is all we're going to be doing with our ability. Just create the ability, any ability name you'd like, type behavior, and then go ahead and attach the behaviors under the ability behaviors section. The next part we're going to be talking about is the requirements, which actually does all the work for us. In the requirements section, I've already gone ahead and created 2 test requirements. Now you're going to need a requirement for each behavior, each level of behavior that you have. And that's because the behaviors are going to be applied directly to our hero unit. But we don't want the behaviors to take effect until these requirements have been met. And when the requirements are met, that's going to be when we've actually leveled the test ability that we just created. So go ahead and create some requirements. You can just create one and then copy and paste them over. The requirement, what you're going to want to have in here is actually this greater than or equal to in the use and show section of your requirement. Now what these are is it's pretty much counting how many times you've learned that ability on the hero. And what we're going to say is for the first one, if we've learned it 1 time, we want to apply the first behavior. We're going to copy this over and create number 2 here, and it says 2 or greater. We're going to go ahead and apply the second behavior to our hero. Now this will stack, meaning that once we've learned the first behavior, we need to learn the second behavior and third behavior, and all of those behaviors will be applied to our hero unit. Now if you're doing something like auras, you don't want this, so instead of greater than or equal to, you're just going to want to put equal to here. But for this example, we do want greater than or equal to because we want to be able to level our passive abilities. Now it's count ability, the alias is going to be your ability name, and the state is completed at unit. We want completed at unit because we don't want one hero unit to learn a passive ability and then it be completed for all the other hero units on the map. The constant here is going to be associated with the behavior level. So this is going to be for behavior number 1, the first behavior we created, so constant 1. Now go ahead and just copy and paste this over, or duplicate it, and then all you want to do here for number 2 is go in and change the constant value to 2. Now we can go ahead and take our requirements and apply them to our behaviors. Okay, to apply the requirements to our behaviors, simply go into each behavior that you had created. In the behavior requirements section, just go ahead and double click that, and then you're going to want to search through the list and find the requirements that we had just created, and then you're going to want to associate them. So requirement 1 is going to go with behavior 1, requirement 2 will go with behavior 2. After you complete that, we can go ahead and actually add our ability to our hero learn ability. Now for your hero, you're going to have to already have the veterancy behavior and the learn ability associated with your unit. If you have not done this yet, there are several good guides on SC2Mapster.com. Bifu's complete hero tutorial guide is the best place to start. Once you've completed that guide, you can move right into this one. If you have not created a learn ability and a veterancy behavior yet, you're going to want to do that before you continue. So assuming that you already have this ability created for your hero, we're just going to go ahead and add our new ability to the learn ability. So go ahead and pull up your learn ability and go into the Info Plus section. Now, when you're in the Info Plus section, these are all the abilities again that your hero can learn. So find an open spot. Let's see here. Okay, this is the one I was using. So you want to go ahead and find an open spot in your hero's learn abilities, and you're going to go down here to the default button. And that button is going to be the button that we created earlier. The ability is going to be our ability that we had also created, the one that has all the behaviors associated with it. Now, if you do want to limit your hero to learn abilities like level 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6, etc., this is where you'd add that special requirement in this section. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but if you are interested, I can make a tutorial on that as well. I know some people have already done that using things like validators, but mine is one string together requirement that covers everything. So go ahead and put the button here that we created earlier and the ability here that we just created, and now we can go ahead and apply our behaviors to our hero, and then we can go ahead and apply this ability so he can learn it. So go ahead and pull up your hero unit that you want to level these passive abilities for. I'm just happen to use Gym Rain or Marine, so I'll go ahead and pull that up. Now, like I had mentioned, you want to make sure that you already have your veterancy behavior associated with your hero, and that he already has the learn ability that we just added our test ability to, but you want to make sure that's already taken care of because it's not going to work past this point if you haven't. So we're going to go ahead and associate all of our test behaviors with our hero. The thing is, all the behavior modifications won't take effect until we've leveled our test ability. They're on our hero, they're just not active yet. So go into the Behavior Plus tab here, and you want to go ahead and hit the little green plus X and add your behaviors. And again, if you have 20 behaviors, 20 levels of your passive ability, you need to add each one to your hero. Make sure all of those behaviors are added on here, otherwise you're going to be leveling your ability and not seeing any effects take place. So once you have all the behaviors associated with your hero, you need to open the command card, and this is where we're going to add our passive ability. Now on the top row here for my hero, as I showed in my video, I do have these buttons, or these passive buttons that display differently depending on which level your hero has the ability level to. If you can see here, that's just done through adding multiple buttons with a requirement for those buttons. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but if you'd like to, I can possibly put together another tutorial that talks about that as well. So you should already have this set up where when you click this button, it goes into a different command card, and that command card is where we actually do all the learning. For my case, that is command card 2. And you want to do is find an empty slot, and you're going to create a new button with a little green plus X thing here. Choose the button that we created earlier for this demonstration. I choose test here. For our command type, ability command, our ability is going to be our learn ability for our hero. And then the ability command is going to be, this is actually going to be the name of the button that we put into our learn ability, not the name of the ability itself. So find whatever you called the button there and click OK. And when you finish that, we should be able to load up the game, and we should be able to spend experience points leveling this ability. So let's give it a try. So indeed, I did open up the game and realized that I could not learn our ability. I did make a little mistake there. I did not add the ability to our hero. Not only do you need to add the ability to your hero's learn ability, you also need to add the ability to your hero himself. So I did go in here to our abilities for our hero. I added our test ability here, along with on here I also have the test behaviors. And then if we go into the command card on my second card where I actually have the hero's learnable abilities, we have our test ability button there, command type ability command, ability, the learn ability from our hero, and then the ability command is the name of our button associated with our passive ability. So after that, let's see if we can go back in the game, and it should work now. Okay, so I went ahead and killed a few things to get our hero leveled up. You can see right now his life is 110 and his energy is 255. The behavior I set, each level should increase his HP by 100 and his energy by 50. So we'll go into our abilities here, and you can see indeed we do have our test ability, and we'll level it once, and indeed we did get 100 more HP, 50 more energy. We'll level it a second time, and again the second time the same thing, 150, and we go back here and we've maxed it out, so it has now disappeared. So again, good luck with your passive abilities. If you have any further questions, just send me a PM or post on SC2Mapster.com, the best place for StarCraft 2 map editor information.